Oh, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today, I want to work on a fake user space controller driver that is to get it recognized by Steam, to get a feel for how controllers on Linux work. So, context here is I'm trying to make an Xbox controller, right? We have, this guy, we've got like a little model of a controller mocked up. We've got like, our CAD designed triggers that like have a little hinge and they hook on the hinge and they press the button on the bottom of the PCB. Wow, we got a half baked PCB designed. It's not really there, but look, wow, cool. We got tracks and routes and stuff, and they're gonna you're gonna put buttons, and the buttons are gonna go to the Raspberry Pi Pico sitting on the back of the thing. Wow, how exciting. Um, and so we're getting like pretty close to this thing being flushed out. But the original goal was just mimic an Xbox controller. You might say that doesn't look like an Xbox controller, and I'd say, a human's just a big donut, right? Like if it's got the right number of buttons and the right number of triggers, we can call it an Xbox controller, even if it's looks like fucking whack, right? But chatters were saying, "Are you gonna add gyros? Are you gonna add gyros?" And I was like, "No, I would never use gyros. That's stupid. I'm not. I don't have gyros right now." But I've been watching videos of people play Counter Strike with gyro aim, and it looks kind of fucking sick, right? Because I was thinking, so this whole thing started because I ruined my wrists playing too much Fortnite on mouse and keyboard, right? I had edit on tab key, and in that game, you're pressing that button like multiple times a second the whole time you're playing. You're just spamming that thing, right? And so over years of just spamming my pinky, it turns out my wrists start to hurt after. That's not good, right? And so now I can't play shooters on mouse and keyboard anymore, which fucking sucks. And I have to use these fucking garbage ass controllers. And now I've, so this thing started because like I wanted to remap some buttons. I couldn't really do it. Push to talk. I want push to talk so I can shit talk children, right? And like, it's not, I just need that, right? And so I was watching like pro players play Counter Strike, and they were just doing stuff where I was like, I will literally never be able to do that on controller, right? Like they're flick shots that go like halfway across the screen, just like straight on someone's head. I'm like, that'll never happen. But with gyros, it can, right? So the brainworm of the gyro is like deep in my head now. And so I'm looking and I'm like, okay, so we can like slap some gyros on here, right? We're just kind of copy the Input Labs alpaca. We'll put one in the corner here. They have two, so we'll have two. The idea probably being that you can get like better stability if you use these like 6-axis things. They have roll, pitch, yaw, which you can like check that they both have the same, and then also you can use like the vector between them for their XYZ translation and stuff for like another point of reference. That's my assumption. I haven't actually looked, but if we go through that effort and we add gyros to this thing, we do all the work to get them working, how do we get that presented to a game, right? Because if we pretend to be an Xbox controller, Xbox controllers don't have gyro. If we pretend to be a PlayStation controller, we don't have the touchpad. We could maybe pretend to be a Wii controller or like a Switch controller, but we have paddles that I would like to present as well. So the question becomes like, when I open Steam and I go into this thing and I open this like controller calibration and for these Joy-Cons that I've got plugged in, and I like rotate the Joy-Cons around and we see like movement on these axes. What's happening there? How does he know? What's going on? And so I'm hoping that we can go through the effort of creating a driver that Steam will recognize as something with a gyro, and then we'll understand what we got to do, right? When we get to doing it on the real guy. Right? Because if we can't figure this out, then there's no point to even putting the gyro chips on there. There's no point. And so yeah, that's the plan. We did a bunch of reading in the past like hour and a half for, what the fuck is going on. And what we've learned so far is okay. There are files in dev input. There's a bunch of these guys. These are for kind of anything input on Linux gets exposed here. A lot of these things we don't have access to, right? Like if I do like cat dev input mice, he's gonna go, you can't fucking do that, right? And so, but the mouse stuff is coming through here, but you don't really get access to it unless you're some privileged user like X11 or Wayland or like whatever. So that's one thing. The keyboards go in here too. Like my keyboard's probably like Event Zero or some shit. But also controllers go through this API as well. And so UDEV, there's this program udev that sits running his root. It's actually part of systemd. He's sitting there running all the time, and he's just like watching for things to be plugged in. And he'll look at them and he'll go, "Oh, I recognize that guy. That guy's a fucking controller. If he's a controller, then I will I'll let everybody read those things, because controllers are different than mice." And so some of these guys have little pluses on them. It turns out that this is the right Joy-Con that I have attached right now from the Nintendo Switch. I have the left Joy-Con here, and then the Xbox controller plugged in here, right? So if we run this program EV test and we point it at dev input event 9, let's actually download that program really quick. Blum, 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 blum. Give him a sec. He's thinking. He's working hard. This will list out all of the attributes of this controller. So like this has north, south, east, west buttons, i.e. A, B, X, Y. We got some bumpers, we got the select start, we got the like guide button, and then some stick buttons as well. Is this Python, bro? Tell me. How about, bro, shut the fuck up? This isn't about you. I'm fucking talking. If you were fucking in a room, if you went to fucking school and you were like in a lecture hall and it had like 150 people in it, then maybe you wouldn't fucking say in front of everybody, "Excuse me, what the fuck is going on? Tell me now, tell me." Like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Get out of here. I don't need you. Go away. For what it's worth, it's not Python. We're not even programming right now. Like, it's just... Okay, sorry. I'm talking, okay? Okay. Sir, this is the CLI. Yeah, sir, this is a Wendy's. Okay, so we can run this program. He opens this event handle and he like asks all of these things about it, right? He goes, what buttons do you support? And then when I press the buttons or I move the joysticks, some events come out of this thing. We have also confirmed that if I run this program ls of, that says like, hey, basically like, let me look at the process. Let me look at like the process table and look at every fucking open file for every program. We can do ls of grep input, ls of dev input event 9. There we go. ls of, so we can see that Steam is like sitting there just fucking reading inputs from the controller, which makes sense, right? And we also know that that's the only way that he's accessing the controller, because if we do ls of -p, we throw in Steam's PID, and then grep input. That's the only thing he's looking at. Now there is an alternative. Mechanism. If you look at dev input, there is also these joystick handles. But it turns out that Steam's not using them. SDL might use them, but he will also try to use the event handles. So I think the only thing that we really need to focus on is getting these events to behave like they're a controller and spit out the right events. We were also looking at like a little bit of SDL code to try to figure out how does SDL iterate these guys. And it turns out that they basically ask udev info for each event handle, I think. What is like essentially this. So udev, again, he's sitting there, he's monitoring all devices, and you can like ask udev to just tell you when things are plugged in, as well as like iterate all of the things that udev knows about. One of the things that he says is, hey, I'm a joystick. And the way that he determines that is through this function. This guy, we found him. Let's open fucking Firefox. Here. So he says, yo, I'm going to say I'm a joystick if I'm a joystick. Hype. That's what SDL needs. And he says I'm a joystick if I have any joystick buttons or any joystick axes. And then all he does is he just like basically opens the event handle, iterates every single button that might be associated with a joystick, as well as every axis that might be associated with a joystick, and then says, oh, we got something. So if we have any joystick buttons, any fucking joystick axes, udev should flag himself as a joystick, and then SDL or any game framework, any windowing system, whatever, how the fuck that works, they should notice that those exist. So that's probably step one, is try to create a device that does this. The only other piece of information we're missing um, is there is a way for you to mock these guys. So there's this thing called U input. And as far as I understand, you basically just open this thing. You open dev U input. When you open this, it should just create a new event handle, essentially, when we call dev setup and dev create. So we just like say, hey, we'll pretend to be a USB guy, and we'll have this vendor product ID, and then we will give it a name, call setup, and in here, he's saying, hey, we support space, we support key presses, and we support the space key. And so then we should end up with an event handle that supports these things. So I think the plan of action, the overall plan here, is use this U input module to create a device, any device. Once we have that, then we should be able to make sure that device is a joystick, check that it's enabled in Steam, and if we get there, then we can try to pretend that it has a an accelerometer on it as well. And so the accelerometer is it's another like event type. I think I saw that there's like accelerometers or something, but we'll kind of figure that out more as we get there. I'm just kind of assuming based off of this Steam input thing that there's like a roll, pitch, and yaw field, and we just gotta like output 3 numbers. That's my assumption, but we'll never know. I guess we could actually test that if we did EV test on the Joy-Con. What was it? Event 27, I think? Right, so here we're seeing that he's just constantly spitting out movement here, and so that's probably the gyros just going fucking crazy. Right, that would be my assumption here, but I would have to check. All right, cool. Let's write some fucking code, dude. Let's write some fucking code. So, timestamp 12:11. Did you finish the PCB? It's close, right? So we've got something. This is like I would say prototype. I haven't really like we've got all the routes in place, but I haven't like double checked it. I haven't run like the design rules checkers, and I haven't confirmed that I've got like the right gyros on here, right? So before I do more research into the gyros, I want to make sure that I understand the software side. So we're close. Where'd you get most of your knowledge about OS? Probably just like poking and prodding. Probably. Okay. Zig. Let's write some Zig. Where do we have a Zig environment that I can copy paste from? Probably here. So we got Zig, ZLS, we probably don't need this. CMake, fuck off. We probably don't need libUSB or this stuff or this. Probably that's a decent place to start. I also saw, okay, this guy was also talking about the fact that we might want to use libevdev. But it doesn't seem like he's using him in this example. So I think that we just won't worry about it. I think we'll just start by trying to emulate what he's doing here with using Linux U input. Oh, which means we probably need the Linux kernel headers, actually. We've been bitten by this before. I think it's like Linux headers, maybe? I can't remember what it's called. Linux headers. I think it's, yeah, Linux headers. Sick. Okay. So, Zig build init. It's been a minute. Zig init, maybe? Nice. Zig init makes a bunch of shit that I really don't care about, though, so let's just, you know, I probably should have just written this by hand, honestly. Because I don't need I don't want the vast majority of this. B path source main Zig. Okay. Target. Optimize is optimize. Wow, we're fucking moving. And then in here, fuck this. And again, club function main. And return error. Uh-oh. Just to see something work. Something happen, I guess. This is Zig. What is that emote? It's Kappa. Yeah. This is Zig. I think you're allowed to ask now, though. You're allowed to ask now. That guy who asked, is this Python when we were LSing files? And then saying, tell me now. Him, not so much. You're allowed to ask, this is Zig. That's allowed. Okay, get in it probably. So that I can fucking jump to files. Okay, cool. So we sure are a Zig program. Okay, so let's open a file. So I guess we want to open dev view input, right? That's what they did in their example here. They just opened that guy as write only non-block. So SEFS create file is their tricky way of doing that. Dev input, dev view input. And I think probably this is fine. Then we want to run some ioctls on this guy. But let's just start here. Can we even open this thing right now? Or do we need to... we are capable of opening this thing. That is great. So seems good. It means that we have permissions, right? Maybe we won't have permissions to do the ioctls, but it looks like we're chilling here. We can even get fackle. So does this just mean all users have RWX? What a confusing way to manage permissions, but whatever. Okay, so he says, let's call an ioctl on this guy. Do we have, I can't remember where ioctls come from. Do we have them in the standard library? Stud OS Linux ioctl? Yeah, we do. Sick. Sick. And what are our options here? It's like request. We need to call UI set EV bit, which is probably coming from this. So C import Linux. It's like this. Linux EU input.h. I guess we could check. Sometimes Zig does have the stuff we want. Stud OS Linux UI. I think it's unlikely. It's unlikely. U input UI. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Why does your U input have execute bit and get fackles beyond me? Yeah, who knows? Let's just not worry about it. So we should be able to like UI set key bit. Okay. Set key bit. And we should be like C EV key. So here we're like, I don't really know what this does, but it's what he says to do. And then he's like, oh, set EV bit, sorry. So here he's saying, I guess probably this is a bit mask of the types of inputs we support would be my guess here. And then EV key is like one of those. So this is probably a bit mask where like we have keys, we have abs, we got rel. Like these are probably like axes. Relative movements is probably like a mouse. Absolute movement is probably like a joystick. I don't know what sin would be, but you know, probably. And then set key bit is probably saying which keys do we support. So we're like EV space or key space. This will say, hey, we support the space bar, right? Surely. C import failed. That's not good. But we will tackle that as we need to. I guess we will tackle it now, actually. Compilation does not link against libc. Fine. You want us to fucking link libc? We'll fucking link libc, bitch. If you're gonna be like that, we'll do it. Okay, here we need to check the return. Is there like a stud... Is there like a nicer way of doing this? Zig standard lib. Like, have they already done one of these ioctl calls that wraps this thing and turns it into a Zig error type and stuff like that for me? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. We got stud C ioctl, stud OS Linux ioctl, stud POSIX, no ioctl call. Yeah, so we gotta do it by hand. It's fine. We could even make our own little octal function like this, right? So we take in these parameters and we convert them. So we just say, what is this? This is like stood OS Linux FTT or something, probably. Yeah. And then we call stood OS Linux ioctal with FD request and arg, and then we say if ret is less, we probably cast this thing to an I size, I think. Int cast or bitcast ret, and then if ready is less than 0, return error failure. You are a failure. Let's like let's really hurt ourselves with this one. All right. Probably not wrap for the sake of compatibility since you're on octal and can return the most scuff garbage ever. Yeah, true. True, definitely can. Okay, so we are not failures. That's huge for us. Huge for us. And then I guess let's just keep looking at their example. So then they create a setup thing, and then they put that into UI dev setup. So here we're looking at CU setup, I guess. U input setup is probably what it is. Yeah, here. And I think that these things get auto initialized to zeros by default, so we don't have to do this memset 0, which is hype. And then we just kind of say that we're a USB device. Boom. So can we do like ID is equal to this, and then vendor is, you know, whatever. Vendor, product, bus type, like this. Cool. And then name is equal to, you know, some dev. Boom. Then we say, let's put this guy in there. So we just pass him with CUI dev setup and the pointer to the setup thing that we've just made. Pipe. Then we try to create him. And I don't really know what happens now. I don't really know. I don't know if it will auto close when the file handle closes. So maybe let's do like a while true sleep for a little bit. 1 E6 or something. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. He doesn't like this because do I have to put an ampersand on this? What's it bitching about? He's like, expected type. Oh, this is a buffer. Like this is inline. I see. Can you like initialize this? If you do dot star like this, does it do it for me? Found 8. So can we like then pad this with zeros? Is that like a zig thing you can do? Zig pad array with zeros. I don't know if that's like a thing that you can do. I know that you can do like times, like here. And then you can like concatenate, probably. But it's fine. We'll just do it the other way. Mem copy setup name stood mem copy from des to source. We need like equal slice lengths though. That's annoying. Fine. Mem copy into setup from 0 to name len from name like this. I think it's like that. True. We do need to copy into the name field. We do need to not ampersand this because it's already a slice. Found U size, expected U size found pointer. So can we do, it would be nice to be able to automatically cast this shit. So like if, I guess that's kind of gross. Fine. Int from pointer. Fine. Fine. We'll do it, bitch. I should be less hostile. I gotta calm down. Okay, so now, theoretically, this thing should exist. Right? That's what we're kind of hoping for. So, I think dev input event 28 was created just fucking now. He's not readable or writable, which is a little bit of annoying, but lucky for me, I did add myself to the input group, but not after before I logged in. So if I just like super user back into myself, now I should be in that, and then I should be able to do like nixshell-p ev test, and I should be able to ev test that thing we just made, and we should see like our stuff, right? Right? Okay, yep, so that is some device. That sure is us. We got vendor 1234, product 1234, and then it would be kind of interesting to also look at like udev ADM info of that thing. So here, he doesn't really have that much information, but he does think that he has an input, he's an input device with keys. So that's pretty sick. LSUSB is another interesting one because we did pretend that he's a USB device, so it'd be pretty cool if it shows up as a real USB device. SU is switch user, not super user though. Did I say super user? I think I just said relog in, didn't I? I don't think it's super user. So I don't think I would have said that. Yeah, so no 1234 in LSUSB because it's not an actual USB device. It's a fake USB device that in fact, we're not even really claiming that it's a fake USB device. We're claiming that it's an input device that would have come in from USB. So I don't really know like what level that ends up in the kernel because it's not like, I don't think that we're making a virtual USB device. We're just claiming that it would be a USB device if it was real, I guess, maybe. Anyways, looks like we're chilling. So and then I guess we want to pretend that we're doing writes that thing, right? So I assume that we just start like slapping stuff in there. I think we just saw that key press, report the event, send the key release, and report again. Oh, interesting. So if I press the button, that might not be enough. So maybe that the events get like batched, right? If my USB device is polling for buttons every 250 milliseconds and I've pressed 4 of them within that time span, maybe that comes as like 4 button presses and then a report all at once. So what they do when they do emit here is they just fucking write into this guy with struct input event. So I guess presumably the reader of these events also gets struct input events. That would be my guess. I don't actually know, but that would be my guess. So let's do something like, let's say once a second, we will slap the space key in there, right? That's all we want to do right now. So we say, yo, let's write, maybe we'll call this, maybe we make this like a event writer or a virtual event, virtual input. This guy has a file handle, right? So this is a STAFS file here. And then here we have like write event. And here, I guess we write the key, right? So that's going to be like whatever the fucking type of key space is, a cint. What am I fucking talking about? Cint, like this. And he is going to use himself as a virtual input. He's going to be like, input event is from input event. And we're going to put the shit that we need to put in here, right? So he's like, we got type, code, val. So type is key, code is key space, and the value is pressed. Okay. Nice. And these are ignored. Okay, cool. Then why? Okay. I'm not gonna question. No questions allowed. No questioning. And then we just like write this thing. Write stood mem as bytes input event, right? Just slap that shit in there. This should be key here. And this should be a right key. Cool. And then this guy can fail. And then write sin, which I assume write report or like report. Like this. Which is more of the same, but with, you know, EV sin, you know, sin report and 0. And then we'll say like, yeah, like, val. We'll just write val. I don't care right now. I don't care. Okay, so we can set up the device. All of this should go into like the constructor of this guy, I guess. Boom. We have to create the device as well. Boom. And then we return the virtual input. Boom. Return f equals f. Chilling. So now we can go like try virtual input init. All of this goes away. And then we say, you know, every once in a while, let's write space is pressed. And then they said, we report. And then we write the release and report. Boom. Maybe we do this we alternate. Boom. Okay. He doesn't like this because no field name val. What is it called? Value. Fine. Fine. If you're going to be like that. I did that twice. Value. I'm gonna go sleep. Thanks for the stream. My infinitely placed European time zone doesn't like catching these. All right. Well, have a good one. This should be C short for key, I guess. Expected type U short. Fine. I can read. Then what's happening here? Stood mem as bytes input event. What's mad here? Well, what's it pissed about? Access of, oh, maybe I have to put an ampersand here. On both of them. I keep forgetting. Okay, and then we don't really give a fuck about this, how much was written. We don't care. Okay, so now if I EV test this guy, we see space, 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 and then also, kind of funny, we're seeing that this is getting triggered as part of the keyboard. So you're seeing like the space key just like happening all the fucking time, right? Whereas space, 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 space. So that's a good sign. I would say that we understand it, right? It's not too crazy at all. Not too crazy at all. So let's move on to trying to make it look like a gamepad and hoping to God that Steam sees it, right? So I guess what we should do is, our understanding as of right now is that UDev will think that it's a controller if we just say that we support any fucking controller key, right? So we saw something about like north, west, east, south buttons. I think that this was in the kernel docs as gamepad spec. So they have button south. Button gamepad is an alias for this, right? So if we just say that we support the button south, then we should be chilling. Now, I don't know if that's a key or if that's something else. So what does this guy says? he says event key is these, right? So let's just replace that space bar with button south and see what fucking happens. Right? So here we're saying we support keys, and the keys that we support, button, where do those come from? BTN. Right? If we just do this, and then we try to spam button south every once in a while, does that do what is like essentially the same thing? You're going to use input simulations instead of just making your device act like a USB joystick. Sorry, not entirely clear. I am doing this right now as an experiment to understand how applications will interpret my joystick, right? So I'm not really sure if I want to specifically emulate an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller, whatever, because I don't think that like my inputs will really match any of the existing ones. It's probably closest to a Switch controller. So by doing this, we're kind of getting the experience of like figuring out what the driver would have to expose without having to actually do the work, if that makes sense. That's kind of the goal here. Okay, so if we now look at dev input, this guy we've said he's a controller now, which he's not been exposed as a controller necessarily. However, he does have a joystick here now. So we're close in that udev, that like by saying that we have a button, we have like a new interface here. And I'm interested to know if we look at dev input event 28, like udev ADM info, dev input event 28. Does he think he's a joystick? No. Okay, so he has figured out that he is an input device, but he has not set the joystick flag. So we're missing something there. However, if we run EV test on this guy, we do see that he is pressing button south and releasing it every once in a while, right? Games will probably see it similar to any sort of farming simulator controller. It's a non-standard controller with way too many axes. Go deep in the menus, configure it, lol. Well, I think I'll probably end up using Steam input for most of it, right? So I was looking at this a little bit. So the main thing here is the gyros. I think what happens here is Steam will just configure the gyro as a mouse and hope that games allow me to use the joystick and the mouse at the same time. And then for real games, I think they'll probably expect me to be like a DualShock, and so maybe I'll like add DualShock emulation as well or something. I'm not sure. I'll have to figure out how to do it on Windows as well. Because like some games have built-in gyro support, like the finals and Fortnite both do. And so I think for the finals, it's like you have to be a DualShock, is my understanding. But we'll play with that later. Okay, so why did UDev not decide this as a controller? Right? I thought that if we have any of these guys, he'd be happy, right? That's what I thought we saw in this like systemd UDev thing, right? He said, if button is between button joystick and button digi, or button is between happy and happy, or between up and left on the D-pad, then the button go up. And then down here, if has abs coordinates, which we don't, I don't think. We should check that. Or if this case, so if num joystick buttons is greater than 0, is joystick is set to true. That's what I thought was supposed to happen. Then here he says, yep, ID input joystick, but that has not happened, so we must be misunderstanding. Maybe the aliases for button joystick and stuff are not what I thought. Am I on the wrong window? I am. So if we go in here and we look for button south. So button joystick is 120 and button digi is 140, right? So button south is 130, between 120 and 140. I think that should fulfill this criteria. So it just means that we misunderstood something in here. So that's only happening if button joystick -1 is not set. If not, that's confusing. Joysticks don't necessarily have buttons, but they have other fancy axes. Others have buttons only but no axes. The button joystick range starts after the mouse range, so a mouse with more than 16 buttons runs into the joystick range. So we skip those. I see. Interesting. Okay. It would be interesting to maybe... Like, is the play here to... Like, law? I guess probably compiling udev. No, that's not really great. Because udev has to run as root, so it's kind of hard to test that. It would be nice to, like, annotate this, but I think that that won't be easy. I guess we can just kind of poke and prod this a little more, right? We can see there are other ways that this is joystick gets set, so we could try to take another path and see if that works. It might also be that we're not in this at all. Ooh, there are also log device debug. So I wonder if we can get into these udev logs. Like udev, it's probably like udev ADM monitor -u, and then I run this. Okay. Can I like view udev debug logs? Is that like a thing I can do? Maybe add all buttons? Yeah, that seems not crazy as well. Surely we're not ending up in varlog udev. I wonder if like journal CTL. If I run this now, we're not really seeing anything. That's not helpful. Like, udev debug logs. Is that like a thing that we can search? Udev control. Aha, there we go. Okay. Udev ADM control log priority is debug. He doesn't let me do that, but I can do that from my other account. So let me just like switch to another terminal and do that with root permissions. One sec. Udev ADM control log priority is debug. All right, let's see if that tells us anything. And then zig build. And then I might have to do sudo journal CTL. Yeah, I do. So I want to be careful about what is shown here. Sorry. Because I just think like running, like logging my whole thing as root, probably not fucking great. So let me just run this over there and then screenshot it and then bring it back over. Here we go. We're looking kind of around here. So we got input device 1 has 1 joystick buttons and 0 axes, but assuming this is a keyboard, oh, probably 0 axes buttons is, no, it's not off screen, I don't think. Oh, I probably didn't screenshot the whole fucking line like a dumbass. Hold on. That's exactly what I did. Where'd it go? Paste. Hello? Oh, I just zoomed in not far enough. Okay. So, event 28. Input device 1 has 1 joystick buttons and 0 axes, but also 0 keyboard key sets. Assuming this is a keyboard, not a joystick. So we can just figure out where that's coming from. And figure out what constraint we're missing there. Where the fuck was that? What's the log line? 1 joystick buttons, but also 0 keyboard key sets. Joystick buttons here. If num well-known keys is greater than or equal to 4, or num joystick buttons plus num joystick axes is less than 2. Okay, so we just like have to slap a few of them. Right? That's kind of what that's implying. So we'll just go button west, button north, button east. This seems like a crazy way to fucking set this. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Like, calling a syscall for every single button that you want to add is insane. Can't you OR them? I think that they're not bitmasked like that, but maybe. Okay. ID input joystick 1, baby! Let's fucking go! Let's go! And now the question is does Steam see that shit? Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Let's go! A, on, off. On, off. Let's fucking go! Okay. So that's pretty fucking straightforward. Pretty straightforward, right? So I'm not really worried about like everything else, right? Like it is a little funny that he expects this to be an Xbox controller. That's a little weird. I don't know if Steam itself like I don't know if it's just like all controllers look kind of like this in his brain. We'll have to think about that a little bit. Well, okay, wait, hold on. Let's run this again and see. So he says he doesn't know really that he's. I don't think he really knows that he's an Xbox controller. Right here, if I just say use button layout, use Nintendo button layout, he's losing his fucking mind, so that's not good. We won't click that then. But it is a little confusing to me that he is expecting every button to exist. But maybe that's because of that like Linux gamepad expectations thing. I'd also be interested to know if we can get him to see all paddles. Did you just assume my number of appendages? Yeah, what the fuck, dude? Like, because I know that Steam input supported the paddles on the Elite Series 2. So it would be kind of interesting to see if we could get those to trigger. Yeah, so maybe we can say like paddles? Question mark, question mark, question mark. So like do we have button definitions for TLTR, TL2, TR2? Okay. We could also look at the XPad driver for the Elite Series 2. Because that will tell us what events that it uses for those paddles. Linux. Paddle. Okay, so they use trigger happy 5, trigger happy 6, trigger happy 7, trigger happy 8. So I guess we do that and see what happens. It's also possible, it's very, very, very possible that Steam assumes Xbox controller for anything that isn't explicitly something else, right? Like, it might be doing some sort of like vendor ID matching. So, yeah, that's what like Svertman is saying too. He's like, for a very long time, controllers were a huge mess, so now everything errs towards probably an Xbox controller unless something strongly suggests otherwise. That makes sense. So let's just start by saying that we have these buttons and see what fucking happens. Is AI smart enough to write drivers yet? Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think writing drivers is like hard. This might be a hot take, but I think writing drivers is like you read what the thing's supposed to do and then you write it down, right? Like they're some of the most simple code of all code in my mind, right? Like you might have to do a little bit of bit manipulation. The hardware might kind of lie to you a little bit. You might have to use some heuristics, but overall, like the idea of writing a driver is like the world's shittiest, simplest middleware. Right? It's like I have library, hardware is library, and I want to convert that to other library, kernel, as this call API. So honestly, all the difficulty in driver writing comes from the hardware not really matching spec. Yeah, yeah. I've I've had my fair share of that. I'll say I worked pretty hard on these cameras that for some reason we outsourced like lens modules for. So I think typically we would build cameras at this company where we would have like a piece of glass that somebody from mechanical would like source or make or something, and then you like kind of slap a little square sensor behind there, and then this guy like speaks some like SPI protocol or something like that, right? Or is like memory mapped or something, right? This is how we did most things. And then like mechanical guys would like design like motors for zoom and focus and stuff, whatever. But for some cameras, we wanted like really big zoom, and I guess we just didn't trust our own engineers to make something good, or we didn't want to spend the money on it or something. So we would buy these like modules that had like a big fucking zoom lens inside. But like these modules were designed for like people who couldn't really program good, right? Or like maybe people who could program but like had like less strict requirements or something. So we, instead of having like full control over the thing, ended up like with like this like little interface that we could talk to that said like just all sorts of shit, right? And basically they had this like big sheet of like all of the things you could ask for. Like, what is my zoom position? Zoom? Focus? What is my focus position? Right? Which is, these are very, very, very important. If you're trying to maybe like know where your thing is pointing in the world, which is like a thing we needed to do. And like, all sorts of other stuff, right? Like it had things like an IR filter to do like day night. So you like, when it gets dark out, we flip into IR mode, stuff like that. And just like every single thing that it said for us to control and what it would report lied. Every single one. Right? So it's like, give us the zoom position, and it would just like be like 2 seconds out of date. Unless we did like this like weird sequence of actions. Or like it would say like set the IR threshold. And you're like, what the fuck is this number? It's just like a number. And that number, it turned out, was like not really like light level or anything. Like my friend sat like in the lab for like 2 weeks, just like covering the sensor and uncovering it to try to figure out what the behavior of this fucking thing was. It was just like an absolute disaster, right? So the pain from writing the driver for that was not talking to the thing. It was like, why the fuck can't they just tell us what it does? Right? Like, why won't they just say what the fucking thing does to us, please? Or like, why can't it work? Like, so like working around hardware deficiencies is like more of the pain. The driver writing's easy. It's figuring out what it wants. That's the hard part. That can be argued for just about anything, not even just driver writing. X operates outside the defined RFC. Browser and front end stuff are difficult because browsers blah blah, blah are cheating. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, to close octal fdui dev destroy. I think that it just automatically destroys it when the file descriptor closes though, so I'm not really too worried about it. But you are right. I did see that. Okay. So I guess let's try to say that we support everything that an Xbox controller supports. Well, I forgot already. Was it Happy 6 or some shit? xpad.c happy happy 5 6 7 8. Paddles happy 5 to 8. Okay, so here, so I don't think that we can just do a bit mask right now because these are not like bit maskable numbers. So I guess we are just gonna go one by one, I guess. So we got button top left, top right. We got The D-pad buttons. Uh, D-pad up, down, left, right. Okay. And then I guess we want triggers. So abs Z and RZ, which means that we have to support axes. So it's probably like set EV bit key EV ax abs probably, and UI set abs bit to like abs Z and RZ for the two triggers. What do they do for the left and right? Left stick and right stick are Y, X, Y, RX, and RY. Okay. Yep, makes sense. X, Y, RX, and RY. Okay, so that is almost everything. We need start select and the stick clicks, I think. Thumb L, thumb R, start select. Okay. Trioctal F handle C UI set key bit C dot, jump to the comma, put a semicolon, delete word, go again. Okay. So then we just want to see what happens if we add the happy buttons as well, right? Button happy, trigger happy 5, 6, 7, 8. Was it trigger happy? What the fuck? Ah, here we go. Yeah, it was trigger happy 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Uh, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then actually the D-pad buttons, they had them as trigger buttons, actually, right? So I guess if we're going to follow that, we shouldn't use the D-pad names. We should use D-pad. D-pad, and this is paddles, right? Button trigger happy 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that's what it says in the driver for some fucking reason. Something tells me that we're gonna make a JSON file with all these keys. That doesn't seem crazy. Yeah. Are you writing actual controllers in gamepad driver? Just tuned in. Guess I could have read the top right. I had to do something similar a couple years ago with a userspace driver, but I did on Android. Are you doing this as a Pico on the hardware side? Yeah. Pico on the hardware side. We're gonna make a real controller. This is mostly just investigation right now to see like user space wise, what would we have to do to get Steam to like support this thing the way that I would expect. Okay, and then I guess it probably makes sense for us to maybe write these down as like, you know, potential buttons and just press one every once in a while to see what happens. I think that makes sense. So can we go like, just take all of these and do like delete, 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 go here, comma, go, 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 go. And then I guess, what doesn't he like here? Okay, then can I just go for like 4 buttons? Button. We do this. Oh, oops. That's the exact one that I didn't want to copy. That one stays this way. It's this one. Okay, and then that means that we can kind of just arbitrarily press one every once in a while and see what happens, right? So we can go like RNG, stood random, defaults, and then like every, every maybe 500 milliseconds, we press a button and then release it. Just to like speed things up a little bit. We just kind of pick one. Is there like one that's like pick me from a list of shit? Bites, shuffle. Shuffle's close. We got shuffle, shuffle with index. I guess we can just shuffle it. That seems fine. I guess we'll just do int range at int range less than. We'll pull this as an index. 0 to virtual input buttons len. And then we'll say button is the buttons at button index, and then we'll use the button here. All right. I guess the controller is simulating the controller while the parts. The goal today is simulating the controller while the parts don't arrive. I think it's like more. I want to know how the gyro is going to work before committing to putting it on. That's kind of more it. And I guess partially just like curiosity. Expect to type this, found that, true. This needs to be const. Button is, oh really? Can I just write C into here? Expected type usize found C int. Oh, and I guess this has to be a usize, then int cast here, I guess. And that should work. Okay. Expected type usize found C int at 48. I guess we int cast here as well. Oh my god. There we go. Okay. So now we run EV test on this thing and we see, he's pressing some buttons. And if we go into Steam now and we look at this guy, like, what are we looking at? So it does look to me south press, top left, select, start, X. A lot of these are not resulting in a press. In fact, the vast majority of these are not. So that's kind of interesting. Like, super interesting. Right, he's definitely got the north, south, east, west buttons are behaving the way I want, but nothing else. The thumb buttons aren't working, the trigger buttons aren't working, set up device inputs. Yeah, except what this does, it just like asks me to rip through them all. So, I guess we could see though, we'll just let him start doing stuff. Okay, hurry up, hurry up. So here, these axes aren't going to work, so he's just skipping them, I think. We're just waiting for A's to get hit. I don't think this is what I want. Reset device inputs, maybe? Oh, this is the wrong controller. Oh, this got really fucked up. Oh, that's not good. It's also not good that when I reset, this thing, like, breaks. Oh, wait, no, this is working now. Start is doing start. West and north seem flipped. Select is doing the right thing. What about, like, I guess maybe not doing random here is the play. We can just do them in order. That makes way more sense. Why are we fucking randomizing? Let's just look at them all. For virtual inputs, buttons, button. Right? Kind of just fuck this RNG shit. Let's just be very deterministic. Punch them all. This is button, US. Button, US. Okay. Are you testing an Xbox controller or a controller right now? Neither. I guess this is just like a mocked thing that I did something to. Why isn't he printing what he's doing? Oh, because we're not running EV test, of course. Of course, that's where the logs are coming from. Okay. So trigger happies all are doing nothing. Oh, generic Xbox gamepad. This is just the wrong fucking one. My bad. Okay, south, west, north, east, top left, top right, start, select. Thumbs are working. So it's just the triggers are not working, but the rest of the buttons are. Okay, so I guess the next question is how do we get it to recognize paddles? Because I know for a fucking fact that the Elite Series 2 did get recognized as a controller with paddles. So we might have to like override in Steam somehow. Like what is available to him. So like I think I saw something about like when I was talking to the AIs. The AIs are stupid. North is west. I think we had it button layout got kind of fucked up. But it's fine. Let's not. Oh, you've got me kind of worried. That is kind of weird. That is a little weird. You've got me worried again. If I hit reset here, and then go over here and begin test, let's just EV test again. Okay, so it goes south, north. Oh god, it goes southwest, northeast. Wait for it to go again. South, north, west, east. Yeah, that's kind of broken for some reason. So I don't know why the fuck, but that's kind of fucking weird. Oh, also, we should probably be sleeping here too. I wonder if that's causing problems. Okay. So we want south, north, west, east. Come on, baby. Wait, what's happening? EV test? Fuck. Gotta let it do the loop again. Why does it keep changing the controller in Steam settings? It's because like the controller is getting unplugged and replugged when I stop and restart the program. Okay. South, north, west, east. Yeah, I don't know. That's fucking weird. Fucking weird. I wonder if he's, yeah, very strange. Very strange. Okay. Yeah, I want to know. So I think I read somewhere, talking to neural networks who are unreliable, that like Steam has controller configurations in JSON blobs. I don't know if he made this shit up. Steam controller profiles. Right? This seems maybe interesting. What is this? Contains my controller configurations for this guy. All these. This is an exact replica of this. Maybe that's not it. That's not it. Maybe I'll ask the AI again and see. I have a custom controller with paddles that I want Steam to recognize. How do I map hardware to the... How do I get it to recognize my device as an Elite Series 2 like controller? Is there a config file in Steam I can change? Something like that. Maybe calibration and advanced settings has something interesting. Yeah, possibly. Settings, controller setting, configure controller. Yeah, that doesn't seem like it, but we could. Okay, let's like stop spamming buttons here. Right? Let's just sleep for a little bit. So that like it's not like touching shit when I'm trying to look at it. You know? You know? Then can we like poke through the settings here and see if it does anything? So calibration and advanced settings. He's just joystick dead zones. That's boring. Steam allows you to copy, paste a config file. Okay, so I hit copy here. Paste. Ooh, wait. This is kind of hype. So, is this an SDL controller? I think I've seen like SDL environment controller button mappings. I think I've seen this before. Yeah. So can I look at like paddles? This sounds really familiar. I think I might have had to do something like SDL Elite Series 2 paddles Steam input or something. This sounds familiar. I remember having to like I remember having to set some SDL environment variable to make this work. Fuck, this is like... So a mapping looks like this. It includes a controller GUID, a name, button axis mappings, and platform. So we should be able to just put like paddles in here, right? Like by ourselves? Can we just like compile and run this? Is this like a thing that... I don't want to just download some fucking guy's code. I want like I don't I mean, is there code? No. I don't want to just run some executable. But yeah, I mean, this is... I remember seeing something about how to map the back paddles. Was it in this? Ooh. We're close. Microsoft controller, blah, blah, blah. already checked here. Okay, so I guess this wasn't the one, but I've seen these SDL strings before, so I guess that's the answers. We need to look a little closer at like what the keys are in this thing, which we can probably find in SDL config land, right? So like, can we just gamepad mappings from file? Can we just look for this in the SDL code base and see what the keys are? That's probably the play, right? Okay. Oh. Here we are close. Close. I guess we should look for like left stick with a quote, right? Here we go. Paddles, baby. Here we go. Okay. So let's just fucking rewrite this thing and paste it in, right? So here, can we just I guess what are these values? These are probably the key, like B0, B1, B2, B3, B6, B7, B8, B9, B4, B5, and then we need to figure out what like these happy trigger buttons get mapped to, right? Surely. So can we go back to doing everything and just see what they come out as in EV test? Code, maybe? Let's see. Okay, so if we were to look at the mappings that we pasted from here, right? Copy to clipboard. So we got like A as B0, right? So value, oh, not value. We got B as B1, X as B2, Y as B3, right? So it could be offset from 304. Because like the left shoulder gets 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think that lines up. So just minus 304. Then A are axes, right? That's probably what these are. So B stands for button, A stands for axis. And so if we want to add paddles, we just throw some fucking paddles in here, right? This CRC is a little concerning. I am that might be like if we just start writing stuff in here, it might not accept it, right? But maybe we could just call the SDL functions ourselves. Subtract 304 from the code. That's kind of what I'm thinking, yeah. To get the button. Okay, hold on. So in SD, can I just create the mappings in SDL and export this thing? I want to know if the CRC here is important. So save controller. Source, joystick, sort controllers. So what is the CRC of? CRC, VID, PID version. So is this just from... Is the CRC just from the UID? What was this API called, Ken? STL... Fuck. I forgot what the fucking function was called. Does it say in this GitHub thing? Is that why? Oh yeah, add here. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so load a game control. load a set of controller mappings from a seekable STL data stream. You can call this function several times to load different database files. If a new mapping is loaded, blah, blah, blah. How do we save these mappings, though? Add mapping. Add support for controllers that STL is unaware of. Okay. This is what we want. This mapping string has the format this, blah, blah, blah. This string shows an example of a mapping for a controller, and then this will return probably a mapping, and then can we save the mapping somehow? Because again, like, I just don't want like the CRC to be a problem. Mapping. Oh, and then there's also like SDL mapping environment variable. But that's not really ringing any bells. Okay, I guess let's just try changing it and see what happens, right? Let's just take the thing they gave us and like just modify it. So we'll just swap A and B, right? Copy this, paste it into here. So setup device, paste from clipboard. Oh, fuck. He's trying to do some shit though. So, stop spamming keys, please, God, please. If false, I guess we just kind of put all of this in if false, and then we don't have to worry about like commenting stuff out. Okay, then we go back to Steam. Check that if I paste this from the clipboard, it does what I want. Okay, setup device, paste from clipboard. Then quit. Okay, what the fuck? Does that not... what the fuck? Reset. Begin test. Why is A just fucking being held? Okay, then if true, and see if he, you know, let's see if he's doing so. When we press, now just nothing is happening. So that's not good, right? Nothing is happening right now. Oh, but is this just the wrong controller? It is, because it keeps fucking unselecting it. Okay, so when he pressed south, it still showed south, which kind of indicates that this didn't do what I wanted. Right? Like here, we're gonna wait for... We're gonna wait for... Yes, south, west, north, and south was south, so that's bad. That's bad. It didn't do what we wanted. Can we actually just spam buttons 0 over and over again? That's probably easier. Right? That way we'll always get the button that we intend to get. So we run EV test here, and we should see south button just spammed, right? We're just clicking that shit. And we're like, please God, we want to see this go somewhere else, right? That's kind of the goal of this whole endeavor. So we're hoping that we copy this in here. We set up our controller to not spam the button real quick. Wrong fucking controller again. Begin test. Set up device inputs. Paste from clipboard. Paste from clipboard and close. Right, that's what we're hoping. We're hoping that did something. We have no indication of whether that did anything, but, you know, we can hope to God. Turn this thing back on. Have him start spamming some buttons. Begin test. Wrong fucking controller again, because it switched. Begin test. Still the south button, right? So obviously this isn't working. But we're on, I swear I've seen this before. I wonder if we can run Steam from the command line and see if it's like doing something fucking stupid. That's not off the table. Where the fuck? Steam. Okay, that's not the Steam icon, but whatever. I wonder if he, like, maybe he'll say CRC valid, CRC failed. Is controller unplugging and replugging and fucking something? That also seems very possible. That would not put that off the table for sure. Steam for Linux is a very stupid piece of software, but it's the best we got, man. I don't really have much of a choice here. Controller. Begin test. Set up device inputs. Paste from clipboard. Paste from clip. Wait, why is the. Oh, because he's still toggling that fucking A shit. God damn it. God damn it. And then I guess there's an option that this string is like saved somewhere in my home directory or something. That's also like very possible, right? So copy, set up device inputs, paste. Quit. I don't know. Okay. Begin test. Yeah, actually let's look for that, huh? Can we just like look for this string in Steam somewhere? Like Steam game controller mappings file. Where are save controller configures located? User data, controller config, controller base. Oh, app ID. Oh. Oh, logs. Controller text. I mean, he had that thing, but that was not it. But if we like tail controller text and then start trying to like paste from clipboard. It's not happy with that. Fine. You know, he did also say hold A to exit though. Like, is it just me? That's weird. That's new. That's new. I feel like this used to be like every other time in the world it's been hold B to exit. So maybe it did do something, but just not what we expected. Right? So if I say now, like, let's put B, let's swap to the X button. You know what I mean? And if it starts saying hold X to exit, then that's a good sign. Paste from clipboard, exit, begin test. Hey, hold to exit. Yeah, it's so strange. Very strange. Controller base. User data. This is probably my user. Config. Controller. Oh, wait, hold on. Maybe not. What are like a B0? What are the fucking strings on there again? Left stick. No. All right. Fuck, that's annoying. Oh, it usually says hold A to exit if you've got the Joy-Con, if you're using a Nintendo button. I wonder if it's like some shit where the other controllers are like plugged in and fucking everything up. Let's turn that off. Let's unplug this and see if that changed anything. Begin test. Ah. And I wonder if that was like changing shit. That seems possible. That seems like that could fuck shit up for sure. Okay, let's go back to spamming A and not A. This guy's back. I typoed left stick. My life is so hard. That's a good point, though. Left stick. Ooh. Config. Config VDF. Left stick. Wait, this is awesome. Okay, so some dev, let's try swapping it here. This might be more reliable. Okay, so fuck, get Steam the fuck out of here. Right? Edit this file, make sure that we're on the latest and greatest. Swap A and B. Swap A and B. You know, how hard could that, you know, how hard could it be? How come only some of these have the platform on it? That's weird. Okay, Steam, settings. Come on, baby. Let's see it. Controller. We're fucking toggling that B button, baby! Okay, that's a really good sign. Okay, so if we start like fucking hucking paddles at this shit now, right? B, yeah, thank you, B. We start hucking controllers at this thing, or paddles, which was paddle 1, 2, 3, 4, right? We should be able to be like paddle 1, B, we're at 9, let's do like 10, paddle 2, B11, paddle 3, B12, pad 4, B13. I think I forgot here, paddle 3. Okay. Fuck you, Steam. Let's go again. I wonder, that CRC is kind of funny. It's just like, what the fuck are we doing? But it's fine. So if this shows up with paddles, that's hype. That's a big win for us if it does. Also, if the program launches, also a big win for us, because that was, we were struggling. Oh, we got some L4, L5, and they're oh, fuck yeah. Okay, wait. Okay. So we didn't really think about what the values that we plugged into that thing were. But we can look. So we got, whoa. Button. Oh, wait, hold on. We want to look at evdev to see what the codes are. Is 130 just 304 in X? Because that's the number that we saw. We were seeing 304. Okay, so button happy. These are like not numbers that are close by, which is a little concerning. Right? This is turning into like 2E. These are like really far away. But maybe these are just, maybe it's like if you sequence all the button things, maybe it skips a bunch. Could be. Could be. So where is our button south? Yeah, that is a little concerning. I'd be curious to see what happens. There's also a button RT. Yeah, these. But I think we're using these already. So I guess we could just use different buttons. But then how does X, like, does elite series to SDL controller config? Is that a thing that we can look up? Because we were copying them. SDL controller string. Does I swear I've seen something here. I've seen a string that's like close to what I'm looking for. I've seen it. Oh, maybe this one? Okay, so here, do they have paddles? Oh, they have mappings just in SDL here in evdev? No, in gamecontrollerdb.h. Wait, that's hype. Okay, so we'll go to the latest and greatest of this and look at gamecontrollerdb.h in SDL. Wherever the fuck we had SDL checked out. Elite Series 2. Xbox. Not promising. It's so frustrating because I've like seen it before. Ooh, what is H here? Can we look up, like, is there like somebody who defines what these mean? Surely, right? Isn't this SDL2 or something? Yeah, it is supposed to be. SDL2. So we could also add mapping from file. We could just look at how they map these things. That's probably the correct answer to this. So this is defined here, probably. Then how does this guy, like... I guess probably it's more like the evdev buttons get turned into, like, button codes or something. Can we look at, like, trigger happy in here? Like, how do these get mapped? This seems relevant. Aha! Wait, this is nice. Key map. Key map. Okay. Wait. Key map equals. So presumably the button numbers are indexes into this key map, right? Presumably. And then like button trigger happy 5 is like, oh, that's like a really big number though. Really big number. Interesting. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. SDL2 might not have any mappings. Yeah, makes sense. Me like big numbers. Thank you. No, because like the button 0 is turning into something. We need to figure out how that B0 is parsed into something else, right? Because like if these mappings, they're just using the evdev codes directly, which means that like button A or button south is like 304. Dump all. I guess we go back to that add mappings from file thing, right? That seems reasonable. So here, extract and verify the hint field, which I assume is the B. Jesus Christ. Add controller mapping. If Android, we're not Android. Then I assume that they're, okay, they parse the GUID. Okay. Then add mapping for GUID is probably where this is going, where the actual parsing is happening. Okay, so here, somewhere, they're gonna find B's and A's and maybe H's, right? This is PCH mapping, controller CRC field, CRC end. 1267 probably. Private controller mapping from mapping string. Grab the button mapping string from a mapping string. P first comma, P second comma. Yeah, that does seem right. So they get the controller name, then the mapping, then GUID info, fix up the GUID and the mapping with the CRC if necessary. So we can probably just nuke the CRC string, by the way. If it's not there, he lives, he's just chill. And then this turns into a mapping. So how does this guy work? Mapping is everything after the third comma. So this is just a string at this point. Okay, then they set the mapping here. P controller mapping is this. That's so annoying. So this is literally just a string at this point, right? So P controller mapping, what is this thing? Controller mapping T. Mapping is a string, so can we look for usages of this guy? Jesus Christ, man. How do we, like, extract things from this? Mapping. Create mapping string. That's maybe... Oh my god, did they parse the string later on? Yeah, it does look that way, huh? So this is where they generate the string, which is also useful information. Like, all I want for Christmas is you, but also, all I want is to know, like, how the button indexes turn into these, like, FDev codes. It seems like not that hard. It seems not that fucking hard. So, okay, create mapping string for a mapping. Okay. But this mapping string has the mapping, that's like one of his fields, no? Controller mapping T, right? One of his fields, like, we've got joystick ID, name, mapping, priority, oh, and then next, right? So, like, why are we creating the mapping string from nothing? This is the mapping. Fuck it, you've nerds sniped me cloning SDL too? Hell yeah, dude. Oh, wait, how do we get here? Oh, wait. Are the buttons SDL button mappings? This seems important. SDL controller button Y. Maybe these are the buttons. So we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? That seems like maybe what we saw in that thing. We swap these ones around, but so like left stick is 8 here, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right stick 8. These are off by 1. Fuck. So it's not that. Left shoulder 4, 5. Yeah, okay, so it's not that. But surely like happy. So the fact that we have out paddle 1 here mapped to these things, it feels like these are like the out paddle 1 here is like an ID used internally, and we figure out the actual thing later. Did we figure out how to turn on these controller mappings? Maybe we load a mapping file and turn on the SDL logs and figure out how the fuck this works. That doesn't seem crazy. Linux joystick get gamepad mapping. Let's see, like joystick get gamepad mapping. Like this is just a function that we can call, right? Like SDL joystick get gamepad mapping or something. I think so, yeah. Because this is just attached to the joystick driver. SDL get. Let's try that. Oh, okay. Let's see. Wrong folder. Wrong folder. But if we go to wherever the fuck we're working, and we look for like STL, can we get Clang here? If we get Clang here, then we can autocomplete and just look for get gamepad mapping. And look at the logs. Great. Because we need SDL as well. I don't know which of these like 50 terminals we have what we need, so we'll just do it again here. Fuck it, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. Nope, test.c. SDL get. No, it doesn't go there. It doesn't go down. SDL game controller get map SDL map. It's not. It doesn't let me search easily. Can we go to this folder and just grep? Grep dash ri mapping in here. Not lowercase. We can call game controller mapping for GUID. Can we get the GUID from a controller? Joystick get GUID. Okay, that seems promising. SDL get SDL joystick get GUID, which returns a this thing. Okay. And so this comes from our joystick. Which is maybe SDL game controller get GUID. Everything's so hard. Get joystick. That seems likely it. SDL joystick is one of these, right? And then presumably we pass in the controller here, right? Presumably, yeah. And then we say SDL joystick get GUID. I think you might be interested in SDL private game controller parse controller config string if you've not already seen it, and in turn SDL private game controller parse element. Yeah, I do think I am interested in those. Thank you. SDL private game controller parse controller config string. Okay, so else if B game button. Jesus Christ. And then also parse element. Yeah, okay. So here they say act get button from string is probably the one. Oh god. SDL game controller get button from string. So map string controller button. String for controller button. This is it. This is it, right? So here they just have like buttons 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7, 8, left stick, right stick. 7, 8, left stick. No, we're off by one again. Off by one again. Interesting. I mean, also it could be that this string is just not what we expect. That's a very real possibility. Dude, this whole thing is so fucking stupid. This whole thing is so fucking stupid. Let's go back. I want to go back to trying to just see logs. SDL get Joyce get mapping. It was like mapping for game controller mapping. Wait, what does this do? Get the current mapping from a game controller. This is what I want. Car star mapping is equal to this, and then this should make it deep into the like Linux calls that will have debug logs for us. Right? That's all I wanted to see. All right. GCC, no test. GCC, test. No joystick 1, true. What if I plug in my Xbox controller? Then there should be a joystick 1. Then we'll be chilling. Maybe 0. Okay. SDL2, my bad. Okay, so this is the initial mapping, and there are no fucking interesting logs there at all. Fuck my life. Fuck my life. Left stick, right stick, 9, 10. God damn it. God damn it. I was hoping that by running it like this with debug logging that we would end up somewhere interesting. But I guess not. I guess we can only dream. We can only dream. Get controller mapping. Oopsies. Where is this fucking function? Car, SDL get controller mapping. Is that not what I fucking called? Game controller mapping. God, everything's so hard. SDL game controller mapping. Okay. This calls create mapping string, which I would have assumed goes into the like platform specific mapping strings. But maybe not. he just copies in if Jesus Christ. Okay. So we more want to see like when the mappings are created, I guess. Which would be on add mapping for GUID, which is not unless this happens on init. This is so stupid. This is so stupid. I'm going crazy. All I want to do is know what the fucking buttons mean. SDL controller mapping button IDs. What are they? Like, this is so stupid. It shouldn't be this hard to figure out. Maybe the AI knows? Yeah, that's not crazy. Does seem like the type of shit that he might know. What in an SDL controller mapping? Boom. E.g. this. How are the button IDs mapped to ev dev codes? This is not helpful. Okay, but like, what do they do? Where I've got so far, the numbers in AX and BX are parsed and ultimately given to SDL joystick get button and SDL get axis respectively. That's a huge hint for me. SDL joystick get button, which comes from joystick buttons. And we know that we have like platform code in like, if we look for like, I don't know, happy, we have trigger, happy, right? These are like, we know that these are coming from going somewhere. So the question is where? Right? Like, what is out in this world? Out is a STL game pad mapping. Where are these used might be a good clue. Right, so who calls this? Get gamepad mapping. This is part of the like interface. STL joystick driver. So someone's calling get gamepad mapping, right? And then this goes into out. Private auto, like get, what is it? Private joystick. Okay, we can just actually, hello. Private gamepad, oh my god. Private joysticks get auto gamepad mapping. Private joysticks get auto gamepad mapping. God damn it, dude. Okay, so then he creates a controller mapping from the raw map. This must give us fucking... Okay, wait. This is the order. No? Append to private mapping string? He's got I here from mapping target, where target is never changing? The fuck? SDL input mapping. Wait. Oh, wait, okay, wait, this is making sense. We're getting somewhere. So, raw map A, B, X, Y, blah, blah, blah. These are going in directly as the target. So when we saw the raw map generation in sys joystick, wherever the fuck this was, button happy, trigger happy 0. These were in SDL sys joysticks. C in Linux. Target is the value of the thing in the key map. So all we have to do now is figure out where the key map comes from. So where is this assigned? Key map. Here on config joystick, this seems likely to be it. So they rip over all of the buttons that are available to us. And we have SDL log has button. So with I. So this is where we can find those maps for. So he is going for I is button joystick to I is key max. He's incrementing n buttons over and over and over and over again. And the button index is just the index. Yeah. Okay, so it's not just like the value of the button. It is the value, it is the index of the button if we made an array of buttons that we have access to. Right? In this order. So button joystick to key max. So this is all from 120 hex to 2FF. And so we just have to figure out which buttons we support in order. Right? I think. So it's like A, B, X, Y, top left, top right. Okay, hold on. We just put them in order. So what we do actually, what we can do is we can go into our virtual driver. Oh, we're fucking getting there. We're so fucking close. We go in here. We just sort the fucking values. Where the in here. So we go buttons. I was briefly AFK and missed a bit. Where are we? Fuck. I just lost the file. But it was a file called config joystick. It iterated all of the evdev buttons. If we supported it, it inserted the value of that. It like assigned however many buttons we've seen before as the index that it used in that mappings file. So if we just sort which buttons that we've claimed to support, the index of the one that we want is the button ID, I think. That is my current understanding. So if we just do like sorted buttons is virtual input. What the fuck do we call it? Did we lose? Ah, yeah, we did. Okay. So we need a new array. Can I do this? No, I don't think so. But we could do this. Okay. Then now we copy this thing. And then we sort it. probably like this. Sort requires context, and then the less than function. So it's like function less f bool probably takes in like a and b and returns a is less than b, and then we probably need a context here as well. It's probably like this. Course. Okay, and then we just say for buttons 0 onwards, bi. We need to get its name out of this, which is annoying. Oh, that's fucking annoying. So we have to like button names is, I guess, I don't know, something like this. Okay, copy this over, and we just do a little vim macros, I guess. Oopsies. There's probably like a Zig meta programming way to do this, but I can't be asked right now. Let's just do it like this. Okay, and then what we should do is we need to sort the indexes actually. So we actually want to go, buttons here is an array of this length. For buttons I, we initialize this thing. With, you know, index is equal to I. Okay. This is actually 0 onwards. Okay, so now we have a list of indices. If I do like this, then we sort these according to the use size like this. So the context here needs to be probably the buttons, the virtual input buttons. Fuck. Context. This is probably a slice of cints, I guess. And it's if context at A is less than context at B now. This should give us sorted indices, I think. We're really fucking stretching here. But I think that's right. Fuck. Can I coerce this to a slice? Automatically? Or is because this is an any type? Oh, I just write const. Thank you. Expected type of this is like this. No, because this thing's an array, so we have to go like const button slice is like this, right? And then we can do button slice here. There we go. Okay, so now these things are sorted by index, and we can say now we can do like std debug print button ID at index I is name this name. I, and then it's like virtual input button names at B. Oh god, it hurts my brain, but I think that's right. I think. Okay, so does this line up with the numbers that we got here? Right? So we have 0 is south, which we rearranged 0, 1, and 2, so ignore those. South, east, north. Then west is 3, which lines up with the fact that the Y button was wrong, by the way. Just throwing that out there. Then we have back as 6, so select. Start as 7. Left stick is 8. Right stick is 9. Let's go. Shoulder 4. Right shoulder 5. I think that's a fucking correct win. So now Now, let's see what happens if we say that A in the Steam controller config is button 10, right? If we set A to 10, we should see happy 1 cause the A button to be pressed. If we can find whichever one of these fucking like 40 tabs I have open had this. This is the one, right? So we want to say A is now B10. Okay? And we're going to go into our fucking program here, and we're going to spam the happy button, I think is what I want to do. So I want to do right key, button, trigger. Was it happy 1? Yeah, happy 1. And if we've done this right, we should see the A button getting spammed. That would be fucking sick. That would be sick. So I think we have to reset Steam to get it to reload this config file. Okay, give him a sec. He's working hard. If we EV test this guy, probably event 29 or something. I guess we have to figure out which one it was. udev 1603, so probably event 24. Okay, we're seeing happy get triggered here, which is hype. And if we go into settings, controller, begin. Oh, wrong gamepad every fucking time. Hey, let's fucking go, dude. Let's go. Okay, so that means we understand the mappings now. Thank God. Shouldn't have been that hard. Maybe we're fucking stupid. Maybe we're not. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. I should shut the fuck up. Okay, so we want A is 0. B is 1. Y is 2. X is 3. Y, 2, X, 3. Okay. This stuff was all right. The shoulder buttons were right. Then we want these paddles to be buttons 14, 15, 16, 17. 14, 15, oopsies, 16, and 17. Okay? So if that's right, we should be able to see in Steam input the paddles getting triggered if we trigger maybe we just do all buttons again. So we just go back to looping over all the buttons and print them all. And so we're hoping that when we get to the trigger happy 5, 6, 7, 8, we see the paddles in Steam get what they deserve. Okay. Dude, coding's hard. And by coding, I mean navigating people's filing systems. This is probably like the same problem as like doing someone's accounting books, right? You're just like, there's a pile of shit. I don't know where you're keeping it. All I want to do is find this one fucking stupid little thing, and I just cannot find it. It's so hard. Just keep digging. Like, it feels like it's like the same problem, right? What's going on here? Kill Steam. Like, hello? Is it just like stuck? Okay, there we go. Steam. Let's try again. Steam does this. Well, this one wasn't Steam's fault. This one was SDL's fault. Or you're talking about Steam just gets fucking stuck? Yeah, it sure does that. That's true. It also leaks shared memory. I don't know if you've seen this, but every time you close and open it, just like another 100 megs goes into dev SHM. And so you just like slowly end up with no RAM left. All right. Wrong fucking controller again. Every goddamn time. I'm gonna lose my mind. But this one, begin test. Okay. So we go back to this guy who's iterating somewhere. Here. Okay. So south, west, north, east, top left, top right, start, select, thumb left, thumb right. Happy 1, 2, 3, and 4 aren't configured correctly for the D-pad, but then 5 true, 6 true, 7 true, 8 true. Let's go. Wait, I don't know if the last one actually got hit. I wasn't paying. I might have missed one. We might have been off by one. I'm not sure I saw R4 ever go. Oh yeah, R4, L4. This one. Yeah, okay. It was this one. It hit them all. It hit them all. Fuck yeah. Okay. Well, I was hoping it would be cool to have gotten to the point where we could get the gyro showing up in here. But this SDL spelunking just like took way too fucking long. Just like way too long to basically get the things in order. Isn't this treating the symptoms, not the cause? So my suspicion here is that we are using SDL mappings, and SDL has a bunch of built-in mappings, right? We saw, for example, in SDL that they had a controller config for the Elite Series 2 specifically. Wherever the fuck we were looking at SDL, which is probably like here, maybe? No? Here, maybe? I don't know where we had SDL open. But somewhere, yeah, here. Like, if we looked for trigger happy, for example, right? Like, they have specific behavior to figure out specific joystick, like, controllers, right? And so if we are a controller that is not any of the, like, official controllers that will have stuff checked in for SDL, we're going to have to make our own mappings, which we now know how to do, right? That was kind of like what that whole investigation was for. It was like, how do we get Steam to be aware of the fact that we have these buttons that it doesn't know about? And this is how we do it, is like we say we have these paddles, here is what they are mapped to in terms of the index of the button that you found that we support. so the controller, I think we've got like a decent picture now, right? We haven't, like, ignore the fact that we haven't actually done real driver, but we could do something like this. We could do my controller firmware has like a USB header on him, right? He spits out some USB shit. We on our side, we could write like a userspace USB driver that's allowed, right? That like basically just like eats these packets, processes them, figures out what they mean, right? He opens dev u input to mock an input device and basically converts the USB codes into like common Linux button key codes, right? So we have to be careful. We have to make sure that we're using like evdev key codes for the buttons and the axes. Now, ideally, we should kind of try our best to use the axes and buttons that match existing controllers, but it turns out that we don't have to, right? Because these get read by SDL and /Steam. And so here we inject our mappings for button to purpose, right? We go button to purpose here. And then you can use Steam's controller configuration to kind of do whatever you want with that information. Now, if you're using a game that doesn't use SDL or Steam, you know, it would be nice if our buttons at least respect the Xbox configuration or something, but in reality, we probably would have to check what each one is doing, right? Because like the fact that SDL mapped our east-west buttons wrong is like pretty interesting. It means that like that we might have been like missing a button or something. I don't really know why it would do that. Or maybe like, you know, some controller vendor IDs behave in a certain way. So maybe it makes sense in our world to like to lie about our product and vendor IDs to match the Xbox ones in the cases where we don't have a custom mapping. Not really sure, right? We'd have to think about it. But yeah, we've got a good picture there. I was hoping to get into the gyro stuff, but that's okay. You know, that might be, maybe we do that tomorrow. Maybe that's a happy hour thing. Maybe I do it offline. Not sure. I'm gonna have to take a look and see how much work it is. It's I think it's just like a few axes. I think you just throw in like a new input device with type accelerometer and 3 axes. So maybe I'll try that in happy hour, and if it's not that, then we'll do a normal stream on it. But probably it's simple enough that it's easy to get in. Cool. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what we saw, we stream most days. We aim for 12:30 to 4 o'clock Pacific time. It is 4:10 now, so anywhere between 3.5 hours ago and now is when you should expect to see us live. We're working kind of on this long-term make an Xbox controller project, which is a lot of fun in a lot of ways. Right, we're getting to touch a lot of stuff that we wouldn't normally get to. We're doing like CAD to make controller triggers. We're doing Blender to like sculpt a controller that fits nice in my hand. We're doing KiCad to like do PCB generation and like firmware stuff with Zig on the Raspberry Pi, as well as some like we're gonna have to do some like control like driver stuff like this. So we're kind of hitting the whole stack. If you want to follow that, swing back by. There's also a YouTube channel where the kind of feature development segments of these streams go up. There are some portions that we don't put on the YouTube because we have to be, a little bit friendly towards the algorithm, right? So stuff that I don't think is like a good title, thumbnailable thing that people will click on, those get archived on Patreon or on YouTube members or in like Twitch VODs if you're subscribed. So that gives you a little incentive to support if you want to. Please consider it because this content will end when I run out of money. And so every dollar I make extends this by some undetermined amount of time. But of course, no pressure. It doesn't really matter to me because I can always get a job in the real world like a normal fucking person. So no big deal. But if you want it to keep going, there's a way for you to, contribute to that. I think that's all we gotta say. YouTube, peace out, and Twitch, let's find someone to raid.